Michigan's short track racing authority is Horsepower Happenings.
Charlie Bauer, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Scotty Thiel, welcome to Horsepower Happenings.
John Beach, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Adam Terry, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Paul Pelletier,
Corbin Hazlett, Riley Knoll,
Matt Cup, Dylan Stovall, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
From pavement to dirt, modifieds to sprint cars, hear from drivers, promoters, track owners, and many other industry leaders.
We worked on that car for 12 days straight, and when I got to the Speedway Saturday, I was out of gas. I had to take a nap.
You're out there and, you know, that groove, if you're outside of it, you could be a couple tenths off or even half a second off.
It is not the shock that you've won all these races. You know what I mean? There's so many pieces to the puzzle to make these cars go fast.
I don't care what he says. I saw a thing on Facebook on somebody's post that's now been deleted that one of his crew guys said that the spotter told him car low and I wrecked him.
With over 50 years of experience from racing to management, here are Zach Heiser and Rich
Good
Franz.
evening, race fans, and welcome in to another episode of the Horsepower Happenings podcast. Big show lined up for you tonight. We'll talk with Colin Bozell. We'll also have Graham Huffman on, a rookie with the Great Lakes Super Sprints. He'll be on the MadMax moment. And finally, owner of Winston Speedway, new owner, that's right, Andrew Heykoop, will be on to end the show as they get ready for their season. Here's some things that are happening in a Mark News Minute. In the world of NASCAR, let's go to ARCA first to start the weekend. Caden Honeycutt got the win in the ARCA Menard Series, backed that up with a win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Then on to the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. It was Connor Zilic who found victory lane. And then Sunday, again, Watkins Glen, road course. Was anybody going to win this race except for Shane Van Gisbergen? At one point, maybe you thought, what did he overcome? Like a 27-second deficit or something with 9 laps to go, or 9 seconds, 14 seconds, something like that. Huge deficit, short amount of laps left, and he still went on to win. High Limit Racing was at Kokomo over the weekend. They got the Saturday night portion in with Friday's rain out. Inaugural Driven to Save Lives Brian Clausen Hero Classic went to Aaron Reitzel. USAC Silver Crown, the Kansas State Fairgrounds, Hayden Reinbold picked up the win. And how about this, Rich? Casey Kane, first career World of Outlaws feature win. No, that is not a typo. That is a real thing that happened over the weekend. David Gravel split the weekend at Williams Grove. And in the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, the Fairbury, used to be American Legion Speedway, now just Fairbury Speedway, Falls Spring Shootout went to Brandon Shepard. Those things and so much more happening tonight on Horsepower Happenings. Good evening. Welcome in. I'm Zach Heiser. Rich Franz joins me from across the way. How many wins did you think Casey Kane had with the World of Outlaws?
I would have said 0.
Would you really?
Yeah, I didn't recall him ever. I didn't recall him ever winning. And I have not watched a ton of World Outlaw sprint car races. I've watched a whole lot more late model races than I have that, but it just seems like he was been a little bit off the pace. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it would seem like a kid who came from sprint car racing and went to NASCAR Cup Series racing would have some. I think everybody just assumed, oh yeah, if he's a sprint car driver who went Cup Series racing, he's got World of Outlaw wins, no problem.
Yeah, but I think he was worried about his race team so long and wasn't concentrating on his driving for such a long time. And then you just pop in here and there. That's hard to do against the talent that you're looking at in the World of Outlaws, or any other sprint car series, or High Limit. I mean, you can't just pop in once in a while and expect to do something.
Yeah, that's true. So, well, that's cool. That's marked off the list. And of course, it wasn't even in his own ride. He was filling in for the Macri. So, very cool. Good for him. All right. We were busy over the weekend, Rich. We got to take in the sights, sounds, smells, and action that was the 4th annual Bob Finley Memorial from Owasso Speedway on Saturday night. 4 great fields of cars showed up at Owasso Speedway. Started with the mini wedges in the afternoon. Then, of course, All-American trucks, modifieds, and the Outlaw Super Late models all on the card, Rich. And it really was just a good afternoon of racing.
You knew something was going to happen and how it was going to work out when you just started in qualifying with the modifieds, right, Zach?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We were it was a literal, like we were telling everybody, this was a literal bump day. There was no B main transfer. You had to lock in through qualifying, and you could use your best time through 2 sets of hot lap slash qualifying sessions. And at the end, it was 1/100th of a second that kept someone out from being in the A main to being in the B main.
Isn't that just wild? And the other thing that I thought was cool about it was it changed every time, except for what, like the last two sessions. Finally, the bump spot kind of locked in, and that was the end of it. But there in that last half-hour practice session, the in and out margin changed 3 or 4 times. Rich, we talked about who was in and who was out throughout the course of that half hour.
Yeah, and I think the reason it stayed the way it was the last few minutes was I think everybody was out of new tires. They were throwing them on. They were throwing them on quickly. We could see them come out in each group, and you could literally tell who was throwing stickers on to take a run at it.
Yep, it was good. And then we understand as well, new track record was taken care of by David McManus on Saturday. Shame on you and I for not verifying that on the sheet during modified qualifying, but that's what we understand took place. And David was fast all day, and we thought that maybe he'd kind of shown his hand and was going to start a little bit deeper in the field, and then right toward the end, here comes that yellow number 7 with some stickers on, and man, just absolutely shattered the mark and set the track record. And then qualifying for the Outlaws, Rich, single car qualifying, that went all the way toward the end too, wondering who was going to set on the pole.
Yeah, and we were wondering, and they started getting quicker and quicker. They started in the low 14-second bracket, and then 1390s, 1380s, and they just started getting lower. And it's like, where is this going to stop? Well, Chad Finley decided where it was going to stop in the 1360s.
Wow. Yeah, just blistered it. New track record for the Outlaw Super Late Models, and Chad Finley got that taken care of. And then, of course, the invert, a 6 through 16 possibility on what the invert was going to be. It ends up being an 11 for the Bob Finley Memorial Outlaw Super Late Model portion of things. Before we get to all that, I want to say congratulations to a friend of mine, Tanner Tallarico, first career modified start, and picked up the win in the B-modified portion of the show, but a feature win nonetheless, so congratulations to Tanner. Darren Burton went on to win the All-American Trucks feature event. Was a fairly calm feature event for the All-American Trucks. And then, Rich, that modified show, those 50 laps were very entertaining the entire way.
Yeah, it changed several times throughout the event. We saw David McManus taking his time. He didn't just bolt to the front. Even though he had just set the track record, someone we were very familiar with started out front and took the lead at the beginning of the race, Travis Eddy. And you got to be like, when you see that 78 car machine, you say, what does he got today? Can they come and get him? Because he hasn't driven a lot in the last year or two, right? I mean, he pops out and shows up here or there, but I don't care. You put Travis Eddy in a modified and he is going to be contender. Unfortunately, that 78 car went away pretty quickly in the first 10 or 15 laps of the race.
Yeah, and you thought, after that, once Travis started falling through, you kind of wondered who was going to rise to the top, and then we saw David McManus take the lead. And I think, Rich, you and I kind of thought, okay, he's got this one handled, and there was a restart toward the end of the race that David handled flawlessly. It was no issue. Aaron Taylor could not hang with him. David went on to continue leading. But, Rich, that restart with 3 laps to go, that was a game changer. I don't think Aaron Taylor had ever shown his full hand up until that last restart.
Either that or Aaron Taylor just said, I got 3 laps to get up on the wheel, and it is what it is.
Right.
Side by side, McManus could not pull away from him, could not get away from him. White flag comes out side by side across the start-finish line.
Yep, and then down the back straightaway, McManus finally got some distance between he and Aaron Taylor. I'll give Aaron credit, man. He licked the stamp and airmailed that thing into 3 and 4, but it just wasn't enough. And David McManus went on to get the win. Okay, so that takes us to the Outlaw Super Late Model portion of things from Owasso, Rich. A really good race. Kyle Crump, Dan Leake lead the field to green. When we got the lineup, I looked at you and said, whose idea was it to put Kyle Crump on the front row of this thing? And it almost proved to be a bad decision for the rest of the field. He ended up leading the most laps, Rich, out of 3 lead changes. But, man, a little bit of an issue with lap traffic. And Blake Childers probably had a better car regardless. That's why he made that marknews.org move of the race to go 3 wide with a lap car and take the lead from Kyle Crump.
Yeah, and I think, there was a lot more action before that. I mean, there were some cautions in the first part of the race. And I think just with whatever was on social media, we got to address the the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah. I was going to get there. Just wrap up the race first, and then we'll go there.
Wrap up the race, then we'll go backwards to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Kyle afterwards, and I don't know. He had some comments that weren't flattering, but he's such a nice guy. He wasn't mad. He was just like, oh, that's the way it goes. And he kind of knew when he went down there, when he kind of got pinched down, and he saw the 33 going up on the outside, that was probably it. He just didn't. He had to let all of his momentum out because he had to lift, so he wouldn't get in to Pemberton, and he just had no choice. And Blake Childers did not have to lose his momentum up there on that high side.
No, he was able to roll the top. And I saw some video today from the grandstand side that shows the move of the race for Childers to take the lead. And you got to think, if you're Pemberton, if he's got a spotter in his ear, all of a sudden he's okay, got one looking low. All right, you're 3 wide mid. You got one high.
Where's he gonna go?
So he's gonna cheat to the bottom, and it was pretty significant contact with Kyle Crump. I don't think that car was the same after that issue. And like you said, Blake Childers, no worse for the wear. He just ripped the outside and went on to win with what we later found out, Rich, was an ill engine, which may have actually played into his favor, because if you're down a cylinder, you can just flat foot that thing almost and not have to worry about it too much.
Yeah, I mean, that car never got loose all day, did it?
No,
He was, when it's like that and you're going through the corners, that's the best thing for you. Lose a little bit of horsepower, get you up off the corners. And as you get late in the race, it helps you because you haven't burned your tires off, right?
That's
so
right.
Childers probably had quite a bit of Hoosier rubber left on that machine with not burning the tires off, because he's always, and like asked him in Victory Lane, we've talked before, and he's no secret about being an aggressive driver. Always has been, pedal to the metal and let it go, and whatever it is. And it didn't look like that. And my initial thought was, man, he's just driving smart today. He's picking them off when he can. He's keeping the car underneath him. It's not getting out of shape. And it was because he couldn't.
Yeah, there was no way he could. Yeah, absolutely. So Childers goes on to win. I believe, let me see here. I don't have the such a weekend. Did Crump hang on for second with
Sure
all
did.
that? I know he had to come back to second because Jason Felver.
Jason Felver finished second. Kyle Crump was third.
Third. There we go. We should bring in Noah Longyear. He had to do the French straightaway interviews.
Yeah.
So that's your podium for the Bob Finley Memorial. Now let's talk about what happened. Right, lap one
and a half.
Well, one lap complete. Right. J.R. Fitzpatrick hung throttle on the 16. No two ways about it. Absolutely clobbered the turn one wall. Rich, I don't know if you had a chance yesterday to be on social media and see some of the fan videos that were circulating, but there's a fan video that's making its rounds from turn one, from the impact site, and it looks similar to a war video of a missile going by, and it sounds similar to a missile detonating. I mean, that car hit that wall at well over 100 miles per hour, and it absolutely destroyed J.R. Fitzpatrick's race car. Update number one, J.R. Fitzpatrick did post on his Facebook page on Sunday that he does have some fractures in his foot, but other than that, few bumps, few bruises. But Rich, he still walked away from that race car, which is an absolute miracle. I mean, let's just be honest.
And we figured, well, why is he limping? You know what that's from? He had that foot all the way on that brake pedal for all he could do to try to slow that thing down. It wasn't turning. And he just couldn't. That thing was locked and loaded. And, man, it just looked so scary. And the angle we had, it looked different than a template car that maybe goes over, or a sprint car. This thing was lying really flat, and it was an eerie look when it finally came to a stop in turns 1 and 2. You almost couldn't tell in the dark that.
I couldn't. I remember in the broadcast, I called it live. I said upside down in turns 1 and 2. And then as it come to rest in a heap, is that car upside down? I had no idea. I mean, it really was.
Yeah, you didn't know if the roll cage had collapsed. I mean, it laid awfully flat. It was short, flat, square, just like an Outlaw looks,
right?
Without a roof, much of a roof on it. And then I saw, Zach, if you look at that video, there was someone that was on the front of the grandstands on that railing, leaning over.
Yeah.
And the staff at Owasso says, well, that's about 12 or 15 feet away from the fence, but it sure didn't look like it.
It sure didn't look like it. And you know what? First and foremost, let's give credit where credit is due. That catch fence did its job 1,000%. Because if you look at that video, you can see the underbelly of J.R. Fitzpatrick's car as it goes by and starts to flip over, and it's riding the catch fence. It really is. It tore the fencing down, and the cable stayed.
The cable stayed
and kept that race car in the ballpark. Thank God, because there were fans there, and there was a fan right in the target area, Rich. So that's update number one. Update number two, you and I received today from owner-promoter Rex Wheeler at Owasso Speedway. You may have seen earlier today that Wednesday's practice session has been canceled due to construction. Well, Rich, that construction is upgrading and replacing the damaged poles, adding additional poles and fencing to that Turn 1 area. Furthermore, there will no longer be grandstand seating in Turn 1 at Owasso Speedway. I think that's something that you and I can both get behind.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out. There was other people noticed it on social media. That Owasso safety crew was on J.R. Fitzpatrick in a hurry.
Yeah.
Seconds. This didn't take a minute to, let's make sure we're going to drive around the track in the right direction. They pulled out of their spot and turned left to get to him. And they were there in seconds because we knew within 10 or 15 seconds that he was okay.
Yeah.
That's how quick they got to him.
And he said it felt
awesome.
like the car. He said it felt like the car was still moving when they got to him, because it was. I mean, that truck was on the racetrack before he actually quit moving. And so props to that safety crew. And you know what else I want to, just last thing on this, shout out to the rest of the field. And I don't know if it was the way Glenn Luckett presented it or on the receiver, or, I mean, we see it all the time in sprint car racing. The red flag comes out and cars are just still kind of rolling through the accident scene or rolling around the racetrack. You watch those videos, those outlaw cars stopped right now. I mean, they knew that they needed to stop, and props to them.
Yeah. And I had the opportunity, during the red flag to go down there and kind of get the feel for some of those guys. Right. I was talking to Adam Terry and Steve Needles and Steve Dorr. They were all hanging down there, and it was those guys are tough, right? I mean, these are as tough as they come, and they were shaking their head with what they just saw. And they were really they were still concerned about the fans because of all the damage that was to the fence. They were like, what if one of this still happened? We got 99 laps to go.
99 laps still, yeah.
They weren't worried about themselves. They were like, can we get through there? Are we going to go through that fence? And that's what they were worried about. They didn't want to hurt somebody. And those guys came back and they shook it off, right? I mean, they were shaken visibly. You could see it. And when they went back to green, those guys did a heck of a job after that. And there were some caution flags, but albeit no serious wrecks the rest of the way.
Rex Wheeler and his staff, Rex, I don't think laid a finger on it, but his staff put that fence back up after it was tore down. And furthermore, this was a decision Rex made. They did not allow anyone to sit there the rest of the night. And so they've made that decision now with the new grandstands that have been put up on the pit side over in turn 2. Nobody's going to be allowed to sit in turn 1 moving forward at Owasso Speedway. So that's the good thing. All right. We had some other stuff lined up that we were going to talk about, Rich. Big O Classic 100 coming up for the turn 1 CRA Pro Series this Saturday, 27 car entry list. I'll have a full breakdown for you on that on the marknews.org website tomorrow morning. So look for that. We're just simply behind schedule. Ricky Lewis won with the Buckeye Outlaw Sprint Car Series Great Lakes Traditional Sprints combo event at I-96 Speedway on Friday night. And Rich, I turn it over to you now for a speed round, winners from the weekend. This is not everybody, but this is just kind of a quick little look at who went to victory lane at some different places in Michigan.
Yeah, can't do every racetrack. We'll be here for 3 hours on a show, right? If we're going through everything. Let's start off at Tri-City Motor Speedway. B-Mods, Colin Thurlby picked up the win. Pro Stocks went to Katie Robinson, her first feature win. Is that what it was?
I don't know if it was her first career, but definitely first one this season.
First one this season. Street Stocks, Tyler Moore took home the win. Bomber, Chad Freeman. brought home the checkers. And in the figure eight division, Trevor Daly wrapped things up. Over at Corrigan Oil Speedway Modifieds, Matthew Vayner took the win. Feature 2 went to Aaron Timmerman. A front wheel drive, feature 1, Patrick Dent. Apparently they ran double features at Corrigan Oil on Friday night. Feature 2, Noel Gross picked up the win. The B feature in the front wheel drives, Adam Rhodes, and in feature 2, Jordan Gustin. Pure Stocks and Trucks, feature 1, Lonnie Sommier, and feature 2, surprise, Lonnie Sommier again.
You're gonna be really surprised in the next division too.
Yeah, well, and this gentleman had a heck of a run. He had a heck of a run at Owasso. We thought he was going to hang around up there. He was fighting the top 5 all day long. Street Stocks feature 1 and 2 went to Tim Lahar.
Wow, what a shock!
Yeah.
Mount Pleasant Speedway, IMCA Modifieds, Don Proctor Jr., IMCA Stock Cars, Mike Vandermark Jr. In the Crown Vics, it was Chase Shank. Pro Stocks went to Willis McKenzie. Mini wedges 10-14, Brooke King. Mini wedges 6-9, Luke Van Hurt. Keep those names in your head as we move to the Saturday night tracks at Berlin Raceway. Super late models went to Brian Campbell. Sportsman feature 1, Tim DeVos. He took home feature 2 as well. And in the 4-cylinder division, it was Luke Boma who won feature number 1 and feature number 2. Rich?
Go to Crystal Motor Speedway on Saturday. Late models, Riley Knoll picked up his first win of the year. Pro Stocks went to Curtis Rice. IMCA Stock Cars, Caden Harrison. Bombers went to Hunter Feeney. Great Lakes Lightning Sprints were in action. Arlie Cooper Jr. got his first career win, Zach.
Attaboy, Arlie.
Did you give him a call and say congratulations?
Oh, man, he was lit up all weekend online, so good job, Arlie.
And in the mini wedges, 6-9, Luke Van Herk. And in the mini wedges, 10-14, Brooke King took home the win.
Those names sound familiar, so a good weekend for those two youngsters. And you weren't there for it, Rich, but apparently they had some racing at Flat Rock on Saturday, too.
Yeah, we were wondering because there were some storms in the area. They did get a little rain. It took them about 15, 20 minutes to dry the track, and they got it done. And so did Paul Pelletier, picking up where he left off in 2025, picking up his first win of the season in the Outlaw Super Late Models figure eights. Back-to-back for Billy Early, and back-to-back weeks 2 in a row in the Street Stock A for Greg Stute. Street Stock B went to Tom LaFollette.
All right, we have to take a break. When we come back, our first featured interview of the night, Colin Bozell, is coming up straight ahead here on the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
Cody Swanson on the point. Your race leader up front being closed upon.
Cody Swanson, he does a spinneroo. Here's Swanson to the inside. Cody Swanson will win his first Little 500.
For Little 500 champion.
Here we go, on the outside comes Rorik.
Get the 56, wants to spoil the party. There goes Rorik through. Rorik right there in the number 56, three-car battle.
Frustration team up in arms over the right front. Back-to-back champion Tyler Rorik wins the Little 500. That's for the lead. That is for the lead of the Little 500. The rookie, Jake Trainer, the 18-year-old, has taken the point. Whoa! And that's Trainer. The 75th Little 500 belongs to Jake Trainer.
Santos closes with a deep charge down into turn number 3. So much further into the corner. Deep down into the corner, and Hollingsworth's going to lay slide.
Big time incident here. Bobby Santos is involved. Haven't said much about Bobby Santos. But he's right there.
He will be the bridesmaid no more at the Little 500.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. It's time now for our first featured interview of the night, and this interview is brought to you by our friends at the Tri-State Sprint Series. We'll tell you more about them coming up in just a little bit. But first, we welcome in our guest, Colin Bozell. Welcome on, making your Horsepower Happenings debut. What's going on?
Another day in paradise, man.
I hear you, man, and nice backdrop. I said that as soon as you got on. I like what you're doing to us here. You're letting them know, right?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about your weekend. I love this. 2 wins, 2 racetracks, 2 different divisions, and I think Friday probably was the one that got the most people's attention. You get an opportunity with a late race yellow Just kind of talk about your race leading up to that point, and then we'll break down the restart and everything that came after that. How was your day going at Kalamazoo on Friday?
It was going good. I was a little nervous. It was actually the first time I actually got to race a template car. I mean, I know they're not much different than the limited late models and whatnot, as far as speed wise and whatnot. But, just for the crowd that I was up against, I was just a little nervous. There was some very heavy hitters there. And I'm like, man, this is my first time out with this car. It's only the second time I drove it. And I got to race against these guys. Like, come on, man. And then, as the race went, like each lap that I did in the car, I just was learning more on how to race it, or like, pick one off, or, fill a gap, or basically how that went. And then, nobody was moving really in the race, and we just kind of all stand still for, 10, 15 laps in the same position. And me and Blanchard kind of went back and forth. He would go to the outside, I'd get underneath him, and then I would go to the outside and he'd get underneath me. And then like all of a sudden everybody just kind of shot to the apron. And I'm like, well, I'm going to try this outside and see if it works. I mean, I had some really, really good success last year doing the outside groove in my street stock. And that's just where I like to be. I mean, it's fun being up there, and that's my happy place, I guess. And I sent it into 3 and 4, and the car just stuck. And I'm like, well, there goes another car, and well, there goes another car. And I was just like, okay, because all night long I was just telling the guys, top 10 finish is awesome. For me, I just want to get some seat time in this car and get to know this car a little bit. And then, all of a sudden I found myself in second place, and then they threw a caution, and I'm like, okay, like this is really happening. Like, this is going to get real here. And then they came over the receiver and they said, let's double him up. And I'm like, well, how many laps is left? Like, the car's really good on the outside. And if we got to double him up, that means I'm going to the outside. So I'm like, at this point, I'm like super ecstatic. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this is going to be fun. And then, they were like, well, only four laps to go. So we're going to take it back to single file. And I'm like, ooh, 4 laps. Like, now this just, it puts you on pins and needles, because, the Maynards, I have a lot of respect for them. They're super good at everything they drive. Their equipment's very nice. I knew it wasn't going to be an easy go around with the Maynard. So then we went green, and, I shot out to the outside there, and I was expecting him to come down a little bit, and I stood up there too long, got in the oil dry, and I didn't have no heat in the tires yet. So I tucked in behind him, and I got some heat in the tires, and we got some, forward momentum going, and I jumped back out to the outside like I did a couple laps prior. And, I found that groove again, and the car just did everything it needed to do. And I found myself door to door with him on the front stretch, and I clipped the wall a little bit, and that's, ideally that's probably, now that I look back at it, it's probably my fault, because, the more I think about it, in those cars, it's very hard to see what's on the outside of you, especially going that fast and at a late race too. Like later in the race, you're tired, you're coming to the white flag. The last thing you're expecting is somebody to be right there on your door. So, and I just kind of stuck it in there, man. I was hoping, we'd make it out okay. And I scuffed the wall, and I got a little loose there going into 1, and I just got back in the gas and never lost faith, and we never looked back. We just kept going forward, and I somehow pulled off the checkered. It was amazing.
I want to talk about the front stretch moment. Like, it's so tough as the guy who's trying to make a pass on the outside, because you're watching the rhythm that's being developed. But if you want to win that race, you got to take the chance, man. And so you put it out there. Now, do you guys run spotters at Kalamazoo?
No, there's no spotters whatsoever.
So you put it out there, you guys put it in the fence, and you watch the video. People probably don't realize how hard it was for both of you, right? I mean, both you got in the fence, yeah. He kind of hit you, you both kind of hit one another.
Yep.
Was there any worry about what turn 1 and 2 was going to be like after that moment, or are you just worried about trying to win the race?
Last year, in the middle of the year, me and Alex Sexton collided on the front stretch. Same thing, going for the lead. And, that kind of feared me a little bit, because it was a lot harder of a hit in the street stock. So, like, in that very moment, I'm like, okay, am I in deep enough, or am I not? But then I'm like, okay, I'm deep enough. Just, you got to go. There's 1 lap to go. And then when we touched and I hit the wall, like, basically just I had a flashback of last year. Like I was like, this is like horrible. And when the car slid sideways, the right rear had a chatter, almost like the rim, the tire was coming off the rim type of deal. So I stomped the gas, and the car still, had forward momentum, and I just kept driving. But honestly, like it's just one of those moments to where like you get in there, and then you just grip the wheel, and you close your eyes, and then you come out okay, and it's like, whew, that was scary, but luckily it only did some rim damage and a couple of scratches on the body. I hope his car didn't get too tore up.
I was going to ask, did you talk to him afterward? Did you guys talk at all?
Yeah, we did talk down at the tire barn. We shook hands, and he told me he didn't mean to. Obviously, no one means to put anybody in the outside wall. There's only very few drivers out there that probably would do something like that, and I know I'm not one, and I know truly the Maynards aren't one. So no, we shook hands and we talked about it, and I told him, like, man, in the heat of the moment I was a little like, what the hell, and he's like, man, I didn't see you out there, and which I didn't expect him to after I thought about it, so now if I would have came into 3 and I would have pinched him down a little bit and showed him a little bit more of the red car, maybe I would have understood a little intentional putting in the wall at that point in time. But I was so high up on the track, and I came in at the last second, and he's already trying to run his line. So ideally, that's pretty much my fault. But I took that chance, man, and it gave me the checkered. And I probably won't do it again.
Oh, come on, I got you a win.
Yeah, but I'll probably try to pull something else out my hat the next go around. It would definitely, them walls, they get expensive. So
I got to ask you guys, man, you guys were the recipient, one of the classic inverts, right? That Kalamazoo is so famous for. And, you got some slower guys starting up front, you got the fast guys in the back. And when you got guys going backwards and guys going frontwards, typically they meet somewhere in the middle and things don't go right. How do you guys manage your way through there along with getting by the cars that run as good as you do and still make your way to the front? That had to have been chaos for a little while.
Basically, I'll just put it this way. The race was very intimidating for me. You got guys like Buddy Head, Jeff Gannis, and, the Jack boys. Like, these guys, I grew up watching Gannis. I grew up watching Buddy, and here I am strapping in, getting ready to race with them. And I knew, like, Buddy was right behind me. Gannis was right behind me. And, like, the whole race, I was just like, when you guys going to show a door, and, and it thought to me in the middle of the race, I'm like, I didn't understand why some of the cars were coming backwards, and I was one of the only few to go forwards. I didn't get to see what went on behind me, but I was just very blessed, I guess I should say. But there's a lot of, that class is very stout as far as drivers and talent and, money and everything else. And it's just a very intimidating class to be a part of, but you just really got to be on your toes, man. You got to make the right moves. You got to fill a hole when there's a hole to fill. The guys behind you typically have a 10th or 2 on you for speed, and you just got to make the right moves before they do, because if they get blocked in, then that gives you a chance to, make some forward momentum on a couple other cars ahead of you. And if the race goes green, white, checkered, or, green to checkered, then it's going to be hard for them guys to get out of that box and catch up to you. So it's all a gamble, really. You either you make the right run and you fill the right hole, or you step outside and go backwards. So
Rich, on this point, I want to say, here's how everyone started in order of they finished. Just to your point, okay? 16th, 11th, 14th, 20th, 12th, 18th, 17th, 13th, 15th, the top 9, and then Lucas Crick started 4th, so he was kind of the first one on the reverse end of that.
The ones in the back got to the front somehow. Yes, they all got to the front.
Yep.
Go ahead, Rich.
No, and so I didn't see the race. We were a little busy. Did you have any cautions when the front cars in the front were making their way to the back and vice versa?
So there was not one caution in the whole race. I mean, it went green to 5 laps to go. And I didn't know, because the scoreboard, like when they would throw a caution, they would take the laps away. And I don't know if it was just an error. I don't know if it was an error and whatever, as far as the tower went on or whatever, but they they said double them up. And I'm like, okay, well, they wouldn't double us up if there's very few laps left, And then they said on the radio, 4 laps to go, we're going to run a single file. I'm like, okay, well, this just really made it interesting because I thought, like, if we're doubling up, we at least got 10 laps to go, or if not, just shy of 10 laps. But no, it was if the caution wouldn't have came out, I probably would have been able to catch Maynard, but definitely not pass him. So,
Well,
I definitely.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I definitely am, happy the caution came out. Obviously, anybody racing second place, chasing the lead, is always happy for a caution to get that chance. But, yeah, I didn't at that point in time. I didn't know what was going to happen because I didn't know. Okay, if he had that cool down laps, if his car is going to be better, and he's just going to pull away from me. But it just all fumbled in my direction, and I was pretty happy with it. So
3 for 3 on the season, man. That's pretty cool.
Yep, and I think, we got the street stock right where we want it, so we're going to take it to Kalamazoo this Friday and try to play with the big dogs and see what we can do, and we'll race a couple races with the late model throughout the year. My biggest dream was to compete in the Clash, and I think we got a decent piece, to compete with, and, I kind of got tired of waiting around for a ride, so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do it by myself, and I'm going to fulfill my own dream, so I did that, and, yeah, I mean, everything I have is owned by me and driven by me, and I'm pretty proud to be where I'm at. So
absolutely. Now I got to ask you, is the decision to, like, I would be jonesing if I was you. I'd be like, you know what? We just want a late model race. We're getting that sucker out again, and we're going to go see if we can do it again. What are you just kind of trying to save your resources, or what's going to be the plan here? Just only running a couple times now.
So basically, I'm just a spur of the moment kind of guy. I never have a schedule set on what I want to do. I mean, last year we bounced around all over, and we were competitive all over in the street stock, and we had a pretty fast limited last year, and then we had some motor problems at the end of the year. That we're working on that right now. We'll have a limited out soon. So basically, I wake up Thursday and choose which car I want to get in the trailer and go play with. That's how I want to race and do it. So.
Do you keep both cars ready to go at all times?
Pretty much, we try to. I mean, we're trying. We just have a small team here, so, but we try to keep it to where that's the goal. I mean, there'll be times to where we might show up with 2. Because I'm not sure if they do the Raber Rumble this year with the late models and the street stocks, or if it's the Outlaws and the street stocks. But if it's the late models and the street stocks, we'll definitely be there in both cars. Just try to knock off some of the bigger races and have fun with it. Basically, that's my main goal, is just to have fun. So,
well, I want to talk about Saturday real quick, and then we'll get that sponsor read in. So you get the win on Friday night, and then as you talk, right, you decide, hey, I'm gonna run street stock on Saturday. We're gonna go to Galesburg and see what's up. Another win, man. Different car, different track, but does the momentum carry over for you from Friday, or what led? Like, how did Saturday feel for you?
It's just another day, really. I try to stay very humble when it comes to racing because I know racing will humble you really quick. So, I try not to let my head swell up or nothing like that, and remember where I came from and what I've established. But, Galesburg's always been my home base as far as, Kalamazoo's my home track, but I grew up at both of them. And I'm just very good over at Galesburg. And I normally use Galesburg for the first half of the year to make sure my cars are like tuned in right. And once I get them dialed perfectly at Galesburg, then I can pretty much bounce around everywhere and it just, perform exactly how I need it to. But there was, a couple good cars showed up Saturday night, and I'm like, man, we got a pretty stout field tonight. Like this, because Galesburg's one of the hardest tracks to start at the tail and work your way all the way to the front. Because there's really no outside groove there unless you know how to make it work. But no, we went into the night. We tested during practice. The car wasn't that good, so we made some adjustments, and then we went out for the feature, and it was a rocket. So, and we just worked our way to the front and didn't look back.
All right, I want to take a quick second to say thank you to our interview sponsor, Tri-State Sprints. Colin Bozell, Tri-State Sprints. Colin, I mean, he'll run one of those cars. I'm sure he will.
Oh, absolutely.
The most competitive sprint car show on asphalt is the Tri-State Sprints. They feature wing sprint cars from 410s to crates, all battling on the same track with a spec tire. The action never disappoints. And you never know, you might just see an Outlaw Modified or two as well. Don't miss the Tri-State Sprint season opener Friday, May 22nd at Corrigan Oil Speedway. Rich, advance tickets are available at CorriganOilSpeedway.com.
So, Colin, you said you wanted to run the late model a few times. How many? I mean, what do you guys got coming up for the next few weeks or so? Do you want to kind of keep it pretty even, or are you gonna kind of, hey, if we're running a little better in the street stock or the late model, we're gonna kind of ride that pony for a little while?
It's just a toss up, really. I mean, I feel comfortable and good in anything I drive. I just, I adapt to it. I mean, as long as you hand me a steering wheel and a gas pedal, I'll make it go in circles. But as far as like comfortability wise, I think the street stocks are a whole lot more fun to race. There's a lot more attitude behind the car as far as you got to really drive it. The late models, they're, you got to drive those too, but they kind of drive themselves in an aspect, in my opinion. A lot of people may not agree with that, but the street stocks is a whole nother animal. You're talking 3,000-pound base weight car that you got to be competitive, and it's just fun, man. You can bump and rub, and you can run different than the late model. And the late models, you can't really lean on anybody. You knock the toe out, you're going straight backwards. But no, I don't have a set schedule as far as racing neither one of them. Like I said, it's how I feel, and what I choose to run. Like I plan to take the late model up to Owasso. I think the harvest is happening at Corrigan. We might take it over there. I think Angola's doing a show down there. We might take the late model down there. We'll just basically bounce around to some of the bigger shows and try to get our name out there and try to compete with the big dogs.
All right, I want to ask some questions from our chat that we've got going on here. I don't know what the deal is, but some of the comments today, we're talking a lot about your manhood and a wheelbarrow. Is there a connection there? I mean, what's going on? They're doing it again in the chat. Why
I gotta
obsessed with you and a wheelbarrow?
When I wake up in the morning, I gotta wear that big old jaw strap, because it's hard to tote them things around sometimes.
Well, they said nobody can run the top at Kalamazoo like you can. So is that what it takes, man?
I just find a happy place up there. I don't know. I mean, so it's like when the cars are lifting, I normally drive an extra car length in, and I don't know. It's where I make all my, adrenaline happen is up there. I mean, you just hang her wide open and just let her eat, and you get such a run off the backstretch. It's like, you're supposed to be going in a circle, but I feel like I'm drag racing, if it makes sense,
Colin, put him on the dash, Bozell. Got it. All right. I understand now.
Yeah.
You know what though? I can back him, because the only time we used to always go out to Kalamazoo was just for the super shoe, right? And going in 1 and 2, the bottom, all right, you got all kinds of room to run up. The car doesn't get real tight. You can run it right way off, whether you're top or bottom, it doesn't matter. Every time I went into 3, if I was on the bottom, I just felt tight. Like it just wanted to stay tight, and I had to put more steering wheel in it. Where if you rolled up a half a groove or a groove up in 3 and 4, it was pretty smooth. The car will turn right for you.
Yep. I mean, I had a lot of success over there in the limited late model during Super Shoe, especially on the soak tires, because, I mean, there's been times where I've passed 3 cars in one corner at that track. It could be either in 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. It could be 3 wide. It could be 4 wide. I mean, I'll just stick it up there and go. As long as I'm clear on the exit, then that's all that matters. So,
and what they're doing on the bottom, what helps it, what maybe anybody who's been to Kalamazoo know, those guys get on the bottom, they get lined up, they're on the brakes in the corners, and you're just up there winding it up. You get, if nobody's in front of you, you got free reign.
Yeah, and the trick of it is everybody's, downfall with Kalamazoo is they go to the apron and then they go to the wall. They go to the apron and then they go to the wall, as far as like, driving off. So if you're not all the way there to where they can see you, stuff like, happen Friday night will happen. And, it could be a whole lot worse than what that was. And, I'm lucky that the Manor boys seen me out there, and, and at the last second, and didn't put me all the way in the fence, and I'm just blessed that that happened. But I've seen cars be there and get put all the way in the fence, so it's,
All right,
it's just a
Go ahead.
it's just a toss up, man, really. But I prefer the top groove. It's a lot of people don't go out there because they see what can happen on the outcome, but I put it out there, man. It's just that's where it's at.
All right, some legitimate questions from the Facebook chat now that we're done talking about anatomy. So let me see here. Where'd it go? Oh, Zach Denton says, what is one of your most memorable wins?
Probably would be the Raber Rumble in my street stock. We showed up, barely had enough money to buy tires, and we flat out handed it to them, and that was like my biggest career win at that time. I got a Happy Gilmore check, and I got the old, statue guy. And if you got one of these, you're just a badass. So
now that's a memorial race. Is there any connection there for you? Any sentimental value that
yeah, I knew Ben very well, and I know his whole family. They know, all of us in the racing community is family, so when we lose one another, it's huge to all of us. So
yeah, that makes it all the more special, man, when you can do that. What is the hardest track that you've raced on? Alex wants to know.
I would probably have to say Corrigan Oil.
Okay, now I've got an idea why, but I want you to talk about it first. What makes it so difficult?
Just because it's flat and then it's banked and it's like sharp on one corner, a sweeper on another, and I mean I got the hang of it last year, but it's just so hard as far as like how much you gotta use the brake there, because I mean I don't really want to use brake, but everybody ahead of me is using the brake, so it's like you're coming in off the backstretch 100 mile an hour and it's like everybody's like to a dead stop, and then you're trying to get a 3,000 pound car to get up out of the hole. It's
Did you figure
that's
the
my
outside line out there? There's an outside groove there. Rich, but it's tough.
Yeah, I figured that out last year. I went over there, not being there at all, and my new street stock that I got, and we ended up getting fast time and winning. So from the back, so it was pretty fun, and I made my last pass on the outside, so it was pretty legit.
That's awesome. All right, I'm going to kind of combine what I'm seeing in chat with a question that I have, and I texted. I think he would. Let me see here. Would he be your cousin, Phil? Would Phil Bozell be your cousin?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I texted him. I said, "What do I need to know about Colin?" And he just gave you mad props for racing your ass off and doing everything your own way and doing it on your own. And I want to ask you, like, is there any challenge for you mentally or otherwise? Phil and your uncle, obviously 12-time, get a lot of love and get a lot of recognition. But man, you are getting a lot of love right now in the chat. People calling you a wheelman and how good you are, and saying we knew that you were going to be a standout and all that sort of stuff. Like, does the name bother you at all? Is it a challenge for you at all to carry that Bozell name and everything that comes with it with the other side of the family?
Yeah, I would agree on that. It's more so like I want to carry the legacy. It all started out when I was 3 days old. I was at Kalamazoo Speedway, so this is all I've ever known really, is to around racing and whatnot. But I've always been good at what I do as far as driving, but like I've never had the funds to be where I need to be. And now that I am somewhat established on my own, I can buy things to make me better and faster as far as being competitive and whatnot, and being able to afford tires and whatnot. But no, honestly, like my driving makes up for a lot. Like I could probably get in anybody's car and go a tenth faster than them, if not maybe faster. So, not swelling my head up or anything, but I'm willing to bet $100 bill with anybody that I can probably do that. So.
What I think's cool is that the chat is backing you up on this, and like obviously you can't watch it right now because you're on the show, but you go back and look at our live chat, and man, people are really behind you. Do you feel that in the real world? At the racetrack?
I'm starting to. I think Friday night was was a deal breaker for me, like first time in a late model and, first time racing. And I wasn't, just up against 10 cars. There was 23 cars there, and there was a pretty stout field of some, there was, I think 3 or 4 of them were multi-track champions, and, I think pulling that out my ass Friday night is what helped me out a little bit, getting some recognition. But, last year in the street stock, I've, gained a lot of fans as well. I did a lot of off the wall stuff, passing 3 or 4 cars in one corner up in the oil dry, and, driving my limited last year, I gained a lot of respect in that car too, because, it's a very old chassis and it's competing with some of the high end stuff. So, but my biggest dream is to be able to compete in Reveal the Hammer at least once or twice, jump in somebody's ride just to see what I can do. But no, I'm definitely feeling the love. I'm definitely feeling it. So,
all right. Rich,
So
last thing, Rich, before we get out.
No, I just wanted to remind him. I talked to these 2 youngsters on Saturday at Owasso. Don't look over your shoulder, man. Bryce and Mason, they're going to be some good little drivers. They're coming a long way, and they're really good right now.
Yes, they are. Those are my fishing buddies. So we.
Who's the better fisherman? All right, you brought it up.
Not Bryce, because he makes me fall in the water.
That's awesome, man. Go back when we get done with this, man. Go back and see the love that you got in the chat. It's really cool. Everybody's hyping you up, so that's really awesome. Nice job, man. 3 for 3 on the 2026 season already. 3 starts, 3 wins, 2 different racetracks, 2 different race cars. I'm excited to keep an eye on you now that we kind of. First of all, that Galesburg's results are available so readily now on my race pass, which is great for me. And then secondly, as you start running that template car more, you're going to be in our power rankings now. So we're going to keep an eye on you, man. Good job.
Yep. Sounds good. Don't take your eye off me, because I ain't slowing down anytime soon.
Colin Bozell, appreciate it, man. Have a good night.
You too, man. See you guys.
All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, MadMax moment straight ahead here on the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
Think your camper handled the winter just fine? Think again. Every time the temperature fluctuates, trap moisture freezes and expands, turning tiny hairline cracks into major pathways for water. That freeze-thaw cycle is a silent killer for RV seals. If you haven't had a professional roof and exterior sealant inspection this spring, you're likely towing a leak you can't see yet. Midwest Camper Repair specializes in catching that winter damage before it reaches your interior. We're mobile, and we check it all from the roof to the floor. Don't let a winter crack ruin your summer fun. Call Midwest Camper Repair today and start the season sealed tight. Call 419-799-1171. That's 419-799-1171. Or visit MidwestCamperRepair.com. Serving the tri-state area from the roof to the floor, Midwest Camper Repair has you covered.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
Mark News is back. Michigan Area Racing Connection News keeps fans in the tri-state area up to date on national headlines, local results, regional news, and so much more. Home of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, 500 Sprintcast, Gridline Social, Job Bank, Fastlane Images, KG Media, and so much more. MarkNews.org is the one stop for any race fan who needs to know what's going on in the Michigan area. Plus, get the Mark News weekly newsletter sent right to your inbox, FREE free. Sign up today and learn more at marknews.org. MarkNews.org, the Michigan Area Racing Connection.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. It is our pleasure now to welcome in Max Stambaugh, Graham Huffman, as we get ready for the MadMax moment presented by Williams Seal Coating. Max Stambaugh, what's going on, my friend?
Yeah, good weekend for us. I feel like, everyone in the Midwest, I feel like we haven't raced, right? So, finally got to go race Saturday. Went to Butler. A lot of work this winter with our team on our 410 motor and our program we got, and we were able to get the opening night win at Butler. So pretty cool to get a win early in the year, like we talk about. Kind of struggling in Tennessee. Felt pretty good at Crystal, cut a tire, but kind of rebounding a little bit, getting a win at Butler, and all's good.
Hey, I love it. You know what? When they're making noise, my friend. So good for you. All right, let's get into our interview tonight. You and I talked about who we wanted to talk to, and I said, "What about this Graham kid? He's going to be racing Craig Mintz's stuff this year. He's going to be giving you a hard time in that 71H, and I thought it'd be a good idea to bring him on the show. What do you think?"
I think so too. I looked him up on my race pass and his racing page and stuff, and the kid's got a good number on his car, right? Number 5. And also, he looks like he's doing really well. Real young, wanted to get him on, talk about his upcoming year and how he got this new deal figured out. So Graham, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, so what a winner for you. Yeah, it's May and you still haven't gotten the car. You gotta be just jumping up and down at the bit to get running some races here. How cool is it to do something with Craig Mintz?
It's so cool. I've grown up like all these years at a dirt track wanting to drive a sprint car, and like here it is, get the opportunity, and also with such great people with Craig, and then having Mike and Steven work with us. It's a great opportunity.
So you haven't turned any laps yet, have you?
I have. We did a couple laps at Fremont in the 360.
Okay, so you got a couple laps in. What did Mike and them think? I mean, did you get pretty comfortable right away from running like the micro stuff, or is it a pretty big adjustment?
I didn't think it was too big of an adjustment. I was up to pace pretty quick. At the end of last year, we went and did the driving school for Fremont, and that was in a 305, and that's how all of this came about. And Mike called up and asked a couple people about people they might want in their car, and Craig called us, and we made a deal work out, and so that's kind of how it's all came about.
I remember when I was young, and I will say this, I'm a little jealous. You get Mike Linder and them in your corner. When I was young, I had my dad just yelling at me to let off the gas pedal. So I think you're in pretty good hands.
Yeah, what Mike and Steven have done, it really shows how good they really are, and I'm really excited to work with them.
Talk about that test and how things went, what your expectations were, what you did to prepare, and then what was reality. Like how did things compare to what you expected them to be?
Yeah, so we ran that 305 last year, and I felt like the biggest thing from the micro to the sprint car was the car's a lot heavier. It honestly feels like things were moving a little bit slower, just like the suspension and like getting into the corner. Like the micro feels a little bit twitchy, and the car's so light. So I was like, that's what I was expecting kind of with the sprint car, and then get in there and it's a little bit heavier. It doesn't really feel like as big of an adjustment as I would think. And then we went and tested at Fremont in the 360. We only did about 20 laps because the track was pretty slick after they did the driving school. But I thought that went really well. Ran a little bit of the top, a little bit of the bottom. It honestly felt really good. Didn't really need more than 20 laps and already feel very comfortable.
What was Craig's feedback, or do you get to hear from Craig much with who you've got, kind of calling the shots?
Craig actually wasn't there. It was just Mike and Steven and the rest of the crew was there. Craig had some other things to do, but they thought it went well. We went over GoPro footage, and just really excited for this first race.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, what do you care? I mean, that your car owner's off doing other things, running race cars, running a business, stuff like that. Like, is there anything different about that for you?
A little bit, but also Craig is a busy man, and I'm glad he has trust in me, and Mike and Steven, most of all.
Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah. Graham, I was just wondering, you were talking about the micro felt like it was lighter and the sprint car was heavier, but I got to believe that it took you a little bit. The power difference had to be noticeable.
Yeah, it definitely was. It just wasn't as much as I kind of had thought. The track also was pretty slick, so it wasn't like we were hauling around there wide open, but it took about 5 laps to get used to, and I felt like it was already it felt like normal.
Max, is this a false sense of security for Graham, or do some people just get it? I mean, coming out of the the kart and micro ranks. There's a lot of guys that do what we do, what you do, that have the micro sprint experience. Chase Dunham, Jared Horseman, just to name two right off the top. Is that a pretty good transition?
I think so, with what he's saying he's doing. And I mean, another guy's name you bring up would be, Nida. He ran, the micro stiff, quite a bit. So
Jack Nichols,
Jack
lightning sprint
Nichols,
champion, right?
Yep. I think it's a stepping stone, right? I'm already looking for a mini sprint for Sam. So I think he's got the right idea. I know he plays iRacing a little bit. I saw him on there and stuff. Graham, coming into this weekend, right? So your first race, like what a first race. You get to come to the Run for the Rabbit, and it's 5,000 to win. So just be prepared. Everybody's going to be on the chip. So pretty cool situation, though. Have you ever been to Lima Land yet?
I have not. I was supposed to run a D2 midget there last year, and it ended up raining out the night before, just like we've had rain all season so far. So rain's been the story.
I think it's pretty cool, though. You go to two tracks this weekend. I've never raced Shady Hill. Pretty, cool little track per YouTube, watching some videos, kind of going to get slick. I think it'll be good for you to get laps on a place like that. So I guess he kind of asked, but what is the goal this year for, you and the lenders and Mints? I mean, what can you call a successful year?
I would say a successful year would be just getting comfortable with the car, getting comfortable like with everything in sprint car racing, and then also try to get other car owners like interest in other people like wanting me to drive their cars, and I want to get my name out there. That's the goal. Like in racing, I feel like in general you want to take that next step to the next level. Because I'd love to get in a 410 as soon as possible. And I think that's the ultimate goal.
I want to take a quick break real quick here in the conversation and say thank you to Williams Seal Coating for being the sponsor of the MadMax Moment. If you've got issues with your parking lot or driveway, holes, cracks, or just tired of putting stones back, call Williams Seal Coating and Paving and improve the appearance of your business or home with seal coating and striping. Williams Seal Coating and Paving can handle commercial and residential projects. Whether it's a new pave, milling, and repaving, seal coating, or crack filling, call Williams Seal Coating and Paving at 517-748-0490. That's 517-748-0490 for Williams Seal Coating and Paving. I want to talk to Graham about this past weekend. You get a chance to go midget racing with the USSA Kenyon Midgets and Brad Hayes Racing. Obviously, Brad has a great operation there with what they do in the 500 Sprint Car Tour and their Kenyon Midget Series operation. I think you're a shoe-in, obviously, with one of the rare trips that they go to the dirt track. How did things go on Saturday? And if I'm not mistaken, you said you were supposed to run a D2 midget last year at Lima. Was this your first midget start?
Yes, this was. The D2 stuff kind of fell through after that rain out. That was really the only thing we had planned. So that stuff never came about with that. And so this was my first time in a midget. I thought it went well. First laps in the car was qualifying, and I was the first group out after the sprint cars. They had ran first, and the sprint cars were up top. So the midgets, like normally they'd be around the bottom, and the bottom was very greasy. So I tried to run about 2 laps around the bottom and just kept getting tight. So I tried to run the top and ended up first in my group and then second overall.
And then they started you on the pin for the feature, didn't they?
Yes, I went 1-1 in my heat race, which put me in the redraw, and I pilled the one.
What? I mean, first midget race, and you're leading the field to green, man. How was that?
I mean, it was a ton of fun. If it wasn't for a mistake on my part, I think we would have had a good shot to win it.
How did working with Brad go? I have an opportunity to host the 500 Sprint Cast, and we talked to the Kenyon Midget drivers, and we talked to the Brad Hayes Racing drivers on that with the 500 Sprint Car Tour. They always have really great things to say about Brad. What was your experience?
Yeah, I mean, such an incredible guy. Works so well. I mean, he just works so great with all the drivers and running the series. I mean, it was really impressive to go in there and see what they've done with that series and how they've really run things.
Rich?
Yeah. You talked about wanting to, get into a 410 so fast, and you said you probably would have had a chance to win if you didn't make a mistake. And you're just a young kid, right? How do you manage knowing that out of micros and trying 360s and 410s and midgets and stuff that you're going to make mistakes? How do you process that to know, okay, this is a learning moment and then move forward?
Yeah, I think you got to look at it in different ways. Like if you're making the mistake trying to do the right thing and you made the mistake like trying to do that right thing, or if it was a complete, you weren't making the right move and it was a dumb mistake. Like you got to learn from your mistakes every time and know what you did wrong. That's a big thing. I try to look at, go over GoPro footage, any type of footage, and go back through my races and dissect each point and where I did good and where I did bad and what I can improve on.
So you're a kid in high school. Do you play any sports or anything, or are you just full-time racing?
I play golf.
Okay, all right. Me and Rich will probably take you up on some golf here. I
great.
actually I went and played 9 for Mother's Day yesterday, and I had to beat up on her a little bit, so that was good. But no, golf's cool. So you're going to get through high school here, and then what? Do you see yourself being a full-time sprint car driver, or are you trying to go up the ladder even farther? I mean, what is the goal for you? I mean, me, it was always I want to get into sprint cars and run at the highest level I feel like I can. I never really wanted to go anything else past that. What are you thinking about your career?
Yeah, I mean, I've grown up watching dirt racing. I think that's where my heart truly is at. I mean, I've driven almost every type of racing. I've done road course racing, karting, pavement racing, dirt racing, and I just think dirt racing is the truest form. Like I think it's honestly the best version, and I'd love to be at the top level of sprint car racing, and whatever opportunity comes my way, I'd love to take.
I want to know, we call this segment a driver on driver segment where Max kind of interviews the drivers. But Graham, you're getting ready to run with Great Lakes Super Sprints, and obviously Max has won a couple of championships in that series, and has some wins as well. Anything that you would like to know before hitting the racetrack this weekend? And this guy knows how to win at Lima as well. And I don't know, anything you're thinking about sitting there across the table from him?
He's not going to tell him the truth.
Oh, but we can at least ask, Rich. Come on.
Rich must have been that guy in the stands of Butler
That started the movement. Yeah. Graham, what's on your mind as you get ready for the Super Sprints debut?
I would say just how the sprint car, the dirty air and that the big wings and how that really affects the cars with the racing. I haven't really had that with the micros or the little stuff, so that's probably my biggest wonder right now.
And the reason I say this and to kind of debunk Rich's point is, Max, you would rather have somebody on the racetrack like Graham who knows what they're doing and knows what to expect than somebody who's going out there blind.
Yeah, and I mean, he's what, 15, 16-year-old kid right now, and he's talking like he's 25 too. So I'm really impressed already with what he knows and what he's saying. The wing thing is big in sprint cars, right? So that's just something you're gonna, you'll learn when you're following somebody. The biggest thing about that the lenders are going to say is holding your line and getting the respect from other racers. If you're wrecking guys every night, you're not going to make many friends out there. And it sounds like you got a pretty good head on your shoulder, so that's a good start.
What is the balance for you, Graham, of wanting to go out there and be competitive, but also taking care of Craig's stuff, and also gaining the respect of the Max Stambaugh, the Phil Gressmans, the Jared Horsemans, Dustin Daggett's, things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's important to gain the respect of all the veterans and everybody who's been doing this for so long, but also I want to improve as a driver and I want to get my name out there. So I'm not going to race them any differently than probably anybody else, but also I'm going to race them clean. Like, I'm not going to try to right rear somebody for 10th. Like, you want to race hard, but you also want to race clean and learn as much as you can.
Max, what do you think? What do you think we're going to expect out of him?
I think solid laps every night, leaning on Linder. Craig, I mean, Craig's not no dummy either. He's a very smart guy, heck of a driver. I'm sure we're going to see him some this year with us. I expect big things out of Graham. I think once he gets up to speed and kind of gets the feel that he wants, and the Linder's fighting that for him, I wouldn't be surprised if he's knocking top tens out here.
All right, we have a question from the chat, and I think it's for both of you because you brought it up, but we'll start with Max. iRacing this week, 410s at Eldora. We're going to see both of you in the server.
Is it official on Eldora this week?
I think so. Well, let's race too, yeah.
Yeah, all my Yeah, so like that's like the one track I get on and still run every time it's on.
So yes, you'll be on the sim.
All these damn kids got these setups, and the old guy can't keep up no more because everyone's buying these setups, and I'm still trying to do the free me.
You're trying to do it your own.
Yeah, so maybe get on some iRacing this week, but we'll see.
Graham, can you help Grandpa Max out here or what?
Yeah, I'll probably be on there. I'm on there quite a bit. I try to do whenever I have free time.
He's trying not to admit that he pays for setups at Eldora and is going to wax you. I can hear
it. He's probably on a team knowing him or something.
I honestly, I just stick to fixed races. The only setups I can really do are midgets. That's kind of what I mainly do on there, but I'll do the fixed sprint car stuff.
Are you spending any time, again, we pick on Rich. He just struggles with the concept of iRacing applying to the real world, but we've heard from a lot of guys that it does. If there's a track on there that you're actually going to go see, that you can pick up some points of either lifting or picking up the throttle or things of that nature. Are you, Graham, spending any time in the sim on a 360? And there's question one, and then Max, is there any benefit for him to do that?
Yeah, I've definitely spent time in the sprint cars, like in general. Just, I think the biggest thing that comes out of it is racecraft. I think iRacing does do a good job with like how the cars are. The only thing, it's like you just can't really feel it. There's nothing like being in the car, feeling the dirt, feeling everything in the wheel, like to an exact like measure. But I think it does get pretty close, and I think racing around other cars and how the tracks get, like when they get real slick, I think that does teach you. And I think it is good to be on there learning.
Max?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the closest thing we've ever had, right? There was another thing growing up called R Factor. I played that growing up. I think iRacing is awesome other than the updates all the time on your computer. But I still think, coming in Friday, there's still nothing better than the first time pulling the belts tight and getting some laps under you.
What can he take away from iRacing Lima, or what should he throw out of his notebook based on the iRacing Lima for when he rolls in Friday for the Run for the Rabbit?
Don't pull off the track under green, Graham, at all. Never do it. That's the one thing iRacing won't tell you. Lima Land does not like that. So there's your lesson. You can ask Heiser about that one. No, I would say the fundamental of the Lima Land on iRacing is really close. With the way the weather's been this year, I kind of expect a hammer down track, I guess, because it is 5,000 to win. It is the Run for the Rabbit. And it is their first race of the year. So I would expect it to be hammered down with a cushion about 3/4 of the way up. And you're either going to pedal the bottom or you're going to plug the top. And where Horseman's going. You got an idea where I'm going. I think you're going to have some 410 guys that don't want to go to Eldora come down. It's going to be a barn burner.
All right. I love it. Good preview for the weekend of racing. Graham, I appreciate you making time for us. Good luck this season. Looking forward to meeting you in person on Friday, and we're looking forward to having a good little run here with you joining GLSS. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been an honor.
All right, Max. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep, I appreciate you guys.
All right, owner of Winston Speedway, Andrew Heykoop, is coming on next. Stay tuned. This is the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
Mark News is back. Michigan Area Racing Connection News keeps fans in the tri-state area up to date on national headlines, local results, regional news, and so much more. Home of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, 500 Sprintcast, Gridline Social, Job Bank, Fastlane Images, KG Media, and so much more. MarkNews.org is the one stop for any race fan who needs to know what's going on in the Michigan area. Plus, get the Mark News weekly newsletter sent right to your inbox, FREE free. Sign up today and learn more at marknews.org. Marknews.org, the Michigan Area Racing Connection.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. Our third and final interview tonight. I'm going to have to pay Rich overtime. Nothing from nothing is still nothing, though, Rich. Don't forget about that. It is our pleasure now to welcome in the proud new owner of Winston Speedway as they prepare for their season opener coming up this weekend. Andrew Heykoop, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Hey, thanks for having me.
First and foremost, I said this as soon as you logged in. You have kind of polarized the internet, if you will, with your USS Winston Speedway updates. Now, I'm not a Star Wars guy, so it's over my head. So I got to kind of sift through it and try to translate. But man, you're bought in. You got the background going and everything. I'm going to ask right away, how did you land on that being the way that you update everybody on what's going on?
I was bored one day and I was just, trying to do the updates, and then my ADD kicked in and I just started jamming out in a Star Trek theme. And then I was just done with that. Then we went to the Michigan Promoters Association, and a couple gentlemen whose job is to do social media branding was like, dude, we can't even compete with the amount of market share and everything you're getting with your pages. He said, just dive into it, stay with it, and dig in.
It gets people talking, that's for sure.
So, everyone's having a good time with it. There's always going to be a couple haters who just don't like it. But, we're having a blast with it. I got uniforms for our people with it. Teddy doesn't know yet, but he'll get used to it.
That's awesome, man. Well, what about this for you? I think the very first thing I remember when it kind of got rumored, hey, Winston sold, who's got it? This guy named Andrew. And then all of a sudden you get bombarded with friend requests and you kind of told everybody, hey, look, all right, yes, I bought the racetrack. We don't even know what we're going to do with it yet. And then it wasn't but a few short weeks later that you realized how much support that racetrack had and made the decision to keep it a racetrack. Talk me through that process.
So it's adjacent to a music festival that we work with, and I purchased it for the real estate. And then my dad loves racing. My dad's a partner in this with me, and we grew up at Winston. I've been there my whole life. I don't know racing. I've got to learn racing very quickly, very fast. And then the community. Within 3 hours, I probably took 50 phone calls overnight. 1,000 social media comments about us purchasing it. And then it just showed us that there actually is a need. And then we spent all winter looking into what that would look like. And we've been under heavy construction now for the last 2 months. And it's just been great seeing the racing community come out and support us. And, it's just been fun.
What I think is unique is I feel like, and if I'm translating this wrong, correct me, that there was a change of plan for you. You said you bought it for the real estate. And now all of a sudden you're kind of, you almost got guilt tripped. And I say that jokingly because I know that you do what you want and you've made that clear on your social media. But you did, you were shown the love that people still have for that place. Was it a hard decision for you to kind of give up what maybe you had bought that property for originally and pivot to this?
No, not at all. It was an easy transition. I always, I like derbies. And that's what I enjoy the most. So we knew we were going to do something there. It was just one of those things that, if you know me, I pretty much can make a decision just in a couple seconds because I've already went through all scenarios before we did something. So it was probably within 20, 30-minute pivot. And then we just spent all winter long just tabletop into there. And then this year, we thought we were going to be able to limp through the grandstands, and then we started tearing into it, and then everything we touched just started breaking. So it pretty much just was ripped down to the studs and a complete rebuild.
So when you make a decision like that, you said it didn't take you long. Was there something in your mind that immediately tipped you one way over the edge and said, we're going to make this a racetrack? And then you just kind of stuck with that?
It was when the racers talk about not having some, a place to go to, and then the community members all talking about how they miss it. And that just shows that we need cheap, fun entertainment. And for all community to do, whether you're a racer, you're not a racer. And that's when I've been building the venue. The racers are going to come no matter what I have there as far as amenities. You guys are really easygoing. Please, our grandstands were just atrocious. The bathrooms were bad. So when I did it, the rebuild was with the non-racing patrons of trying to get them back in. I think that's one of the biggest, looking at analyzing from the business perspective, that's one of the biggest issues is the non-racers just stop going on the tracks because of how dirty they are and that they don't appease to them. So I'm trying to make it fun entertainment-wise and then through what we offer to try to get those non-racers in there.
So during this process, I mean, obviously, once you make the decision, there's no turning back. Once you get so far into it, what's been the toughest point for you, and what's been the toughest task for you to get this racetrack ready?
Honestly, weather. I mean, weather has just absolutely destroyed us. Our staff is absolutely amazing, and then even our volunteers, like Teddy and his friends group, have been working on the track prep side. I mean, that side of it's been amazing. The downside of it is a short amount of time, and weather has just been absolutely uncooperative.
So, opener coming up this weekend. You guys are probably in overdrive right now trying to get things taken care of and put together. Do you have the racetrack to kind of that final stage where you wanted it to be, or are you're good enough to be able to open this weekend and fans are going to continue to see things change as we go throughout the summer?
So the track itself is race ready. Still doing final installations on some safety equipment. The race receiver lights I still want in place. From the fan side of it, grandstands will be complete, but there will still be some ongoing projects. The deck, we put a huge wraparound deck around the hill. That's sitting at 75% and will just be what it is for now. There's another addition I want to do onto it. And it's just going to be an ongoing thing through the venue. The pits, whether or not the speakers work or lights ran by light towers, but I have an FM transmitter that will broadcast through the pits. It's just going to be a work in progress.
Is there a level of excitement, relief, nervousness? Like, where are you at? And maybe Ted's got more of this on his shoulders because that's what you hired him for. But where are you at for when things kick off this weekend?
We've been now 60 some days, 20-hour days. We bought the house next door, and my wife, myself, and my daughter, we've been in there now for the last 12 days. Haven't really left the venue. We're just going to be happy when it's done. We open. Everyone loves it, and then we're going to take a couple of days off, and then we'll be rebuilding.
Go ahead, Rich.
So you brought Ted on, and we've known Ted for a while. I mean, he knows a lot about racing. How has that process been, and the value he adds to your group?
So I don't know racing, and I don't try to. I mean, I put it out on social media, well known. It was a joke in the beginning because I didn't know what a super late model was or what it looked like. So Teddy and his friends group built me a picture book. And so when we're talking about it, we flip to the picture book, and this is what we're talking about. And now, this has been 6 months ago. I have a vast understanding of it now, but still obviously have a lot to learn. The biggest one that he brings a lot of value, but probably the biggest one, the bridge between us, is what you guys want. Because I can come up with all the visions and dreams, but he's a racer. His friends group are racers. You guys are racers. What can I get away with? So like one of the biggest one that you guys absolutely nailed me for is I wanted to go to print check where payroll was just a click of a button, easy process from my end. So I just put the feeler out there to see what that would look like. He told me absolutely no, it's not going to work. And I think I got burned within the first 30 seconds and realized that wasn't going to work. And I should probably just listen to Teddy from from the get-go of that.
So can I translate that to there's going to be cash at the pay window? Is that what that means?
Yeah, the takeaway was cash was king. That was pretty much the takeaway. You all want to pay me with card, but I have to pay you in cash.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
Man, he learns quick, doesn't he?
I want to take this opportunity. Go ahead.
No, it's just funny when we did the driver registration. I just told everyone it was cash only because cash is king, right? And then that didn't go over as funny as I thought it did. But
there's a lot of irony in this sport. That is absolutely true. I want to take a quick second to say thank you to our interview sponsor tonight with Andrew. It's actually Sweet Manufacturing. Sweet Manufacturing, they've got a lot of great things that they can help you with here as the season rolls on, from new to scratch and dent, which we've talked about. Sweet Manufacturing has a lot of things that will help your program go better, from straight line to circle track, modified, sprint cars, late models, you name it, U-joints, steering racks, so many things, tanks, all sorts of stuff online at sweetmanufacturing.com. Michigan Motorsports Hall of Famer Randy Sweet, his visions still run through the office at Sweet Manufacturing. Call them locally at 269-344-2086, 269-344-2086, or when you shop online, orders of over $500 get free shipping, Rich, from sweetmanufacturing.com.
Andrew, coming up on your opening, a lot of long winter, man. You guys have done a lot of work in a short period of time. Any level of nerves that you have going into this weekend?
So, I mean, we're in towing and I do a lot of heavy accidents. So, I mean, as far as that type of thing goes, I'm used to the pressure. Like I said, it'd just be nice once every checkbox is done. But it's just time. I mean, it's all we really have. I can't create more than 24 hours of it in a day, and there's only so much that we can put into it. But once my checkbox right now is front of the house, make sure that it's safe and secure. And tonight we're putting guardrails in and walkway railing. Once that's complete, then we're sitting in good shape to make sure the front of the house is safe.
So when things unfold, what will your role be on race day? I always think that's interesting. There are some owners who are all about being on the race side of things. There's some that like to be on the business side of things. There are some that don't like to be seen at all. What are you going to be doing on Friday night?
So this is one thing that I put out on a few times on social media, and I'll stand by it. If there's an issue going on at the track, don't talk to me. You need to go through the race director, and if there's an argument there, then he can consult with me. I want to be at the front of the house. I want to be promoting Winston Speedway and its branding, and I want to be working with the fans and stay on that side. Obviously, I will walk through, and we love our drivers and we want to thank them for being there. But if it's an issue race related, that is not something that needs to be discussed with me, and I want to stay away from that. That's Ted's world. He knows where I stand on it. And I think if you start getting, like I said, I own it with my dad. If you start getting the three of us, you're going to get three different answers. If you want a straight answer, you stay with one person and they will finish it cradle to grave.
Yeah.
So shaking hands and kissing babies, right?
That's all I want to do. I got my, I got my cowboy hat on and my lighted up shoes, and we're ready to go for Friday.
I love this. Super late models, IMCA modifieds, pro late models, street stocks, all on the card. I say that for the race fans who want to know what's going to be happening on Friday. I ask you, what's it been like? I always say racing is a two customer base business. You have the customers who come through the back gate, and those are the racers. You have to tend to them and make sure that they're happy so that they come to your racetrack. And then you have the customers who buy a ticket for the front of the house who come and watch these races. What's it been like trying to kind of cater to two different customer bases and making sure that everybody is getting a little something they need?
So like I said, Teddy's running the race side. But what I'm learning is you guys are a lot easier as far as back of the house goes of your amenities. So we don't have the pit bathrooms there. We remove those just due to their shape, and then porta johns, and then through the rest of the year build or next year, then I can expand that. But on the front of the house, that's a requirement. I mean, they want nice facilities into there. But you guys are really simple. It's just pull up in the parking lot and you just want to race with no bullshit. And then what we say is what we do. I mean, really, expectation with you guys are easy. As long as we deliver what our promises are, and pay what we say we're going to pay and do those, you guys are really simple.
So I really should be asking Ted how stressed he is to have to handle race day.
Oh yeah, he hates me right now. So they were at the track till 5 a.m. the other day, just dialing it in and getting it going, picking up every little rock on the track, and just trying to make it for you guys that it's just a great facility to race at.
How did you find Ted? I mean, obviously he's raced around the state of Michigan for a long time. Like Rich said, he's a friend of the program. How did you guys get linked up in this whole scenario?
So we've been lifelong friends. So our dads have been going to races and this stuff for probably close to 40 years. And so then I've known him, probably through the entire time period. And then his brother-in-law, I do a lot of business with. So it's just, we're kind of just stuck with each other. He's only quit on me twice. So then, and I told him, we haven't even started racing yet and you want to quit. So,
right. Okay, you can quit today, but I'll see you on Monday, right?
yeah, exactly. No, he's gonna bring tremendous value. He already has. Like I said, he just knows that heartbeat, that pulse. He's level-headed, and I think you guys are, as the racers, if there's an issue, I think you're gonna see that. There's not one of the things that I made sure is he's not allowed to race at our facility. I think you get into places where owners have race cars or their kids, and then there's that bias or that nepotism feel. And I don't like that. So anyone really in a key leadership role of ours isn't allowed to participate there because I don't want that drawn into it.
So there's probably a lot of fans tuning in, watching us tonight. So kind of tell them what they're going to expect, what time your gates open, what they're going to pay, what they're going to expect when they get inside the gate.
So pits open at 5, $35 gate fee. You can do my race pass to get your tickets or do your pre-registration for a driver. Tickets for a patron are $20, and they can do that online or at the gate as well. New box offices, new pit registration, essentially new everything. Racing starts at 7, and we are trying hard to make sure that shows are done by 11:30, because I got a campfire next door that I want to get to.
Are there any sort of entertainment things? I get the idea. You said your cowboy hats and your light up boots. Are there any entertainment things that you can tease as far as for the race fan? Because it is an entertainment business. We talk about that all the time on the administrative side, that you have to find a way to get the fans to keep coming back. Any shenanigans for this first week that we should be looking for, or is it just going to be racing?
I think you know me enough by now that there's always shenanigans.
Well, I was trying to leave an escape route just in case.
So one of the coolest things we have for opening night is I have a marching band from Hesperia High School that's going to be doing the national anthem right at the start. And then I don't want to commit to it, but we should have some pyrotechnic for that as well. But we got to see if my guy delivers.
That's awesome. Yep. You got me. I was a band guy, so I love that. That is awesome. And I wanted to talk about that too. In the winter, it started back in the fall, trying to get the community involved. And what has the response been like? Obviously, the racers are excited, and the true race fans are excited. But what's your temperature gauge been telling you about the Rothbury community and you bringing this racetrack back?
Absolutely amazing response from everybody. I mean, the race fans alike down to local government. I mean, our local government has been absolutely amazing for making sure we can get permitted for different sections that we needed and inspections. And that could have caused a lot of problems, and they've been absolutely amazing. Again, with our support, we'll see. I mean, let's see what they bring on Friday, because talk is cheap. So they say they want to support us. They say there, but it's been 14 owners, I believe, from the beginning. So let's see if they support it. But that's also a lot on the facility too. If I don't support the facility, then why do I expect, being supported? So that's what we need to build on.
Well, I got to tell you, Andrew, Zach and I started doing this together because our love for motorsports, and it was to promote motorsports of any kind throughout the state of Michigan. We continue to do that today. And we always say, a racetrack coming back is better than the one that's closed, right? And so we want to thank you for jumping in, getting involved with, this is a big family in the state of Michigan with these racers, right? We all do the same thing. It's the one tie we all have. So thank you very much for bringing Winston back, and let's get this thing rolling. You're going to have a fun summer.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
I just got something in the chat here real quick, and it's in all caps, and if I don't ask it, I'm going to get yelled at. Concessions, what's going on with concessions this year? Actually, I did not see my invite to come test the concession food a few weeks ago. That must have got lost in the mail, which is okay. I won't hold that against you. But what are we expecting for concessions this year?
So we have one final inspection left, and we're hoping that gets wrapped up this week so we can open. So remodeled the entire the exterior, so you got 4 windows now. And then down in the pit area, what we would call that is another concessions building. So it should be the same. I mean, burgers, hot dogs, barbecues, your chips and cheese, pretty much all the flavors and Pepsi products. So if we get permitted the right way, then that should all be open and up and running. If not, then we'll have to look at what a plan B option is for a food truck.
What was the owner's, either you or your wife, how do I say this, executive decision on a food item that's going to be in the concession building this year?
So the wife has a long history of food service, so I try to stay out of her lane. And that's what works great is there's a few of us that are in these roles that have our expertise, and hers is in overall management and in the food service. So I try to stay out of the kitchen.
Okay.
But what we did is our family table became the test kitchen for a while, and we were hoping to have test and tune and then do that there. But like I said, weather just shoved our date so far over that we weren't able to do some of the things we tabletopped.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that too. So, well, man, as Rich said, exciting stuff. Obviously the west side of the state has had some turmoil here in the off season. So I think fans and drivers alike are just excited to get racing and excited to do it at Winston Speedway. So good luck. We'll be looking forward to hearing how things go. And thanks for making time to be on the show.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Zach.
All right. We'll take a break, wrap things up. This is the Horsepower Happenings Podcast.
The Horsepower Happenings Podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings Podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
Think your camper handled the winter just fine? Think again. Every time the temperature fluctuates, drop moisture freezes and expands, turning tiny hairline cracks into major pathways for water. That freeze-thaw cycle is a silent killer for RV seals. If you haven't had a professional roof and exterior sealant inspection this spring, you're likely towing a leak you can't see yet. Midwest Camper Repair specializes in catching that winter damage before it reaches your interior. We're mobile and we check it all from the roof to the floor. Don't let a winter crack ruin your summer fun. Call Midwest Camper Repair today and start the season sealed tight. Call 419-799-1171. That's 419-799-1171. Or visit MidwestCamperRepair.com. Serving the tri-state area from the roof to the floor, Midwest Camper Repair has you covered.
Welcome back to Horsepower Happening. Zach, that was pretty cool, man. Knowing we've waited a long time for Winston Speedway to open back up. And, man, Andrew's got a lot of plans out there. You may not see it all the first. I mean, he's right? I mean, the weather was not nice to Northwest Michigan. And they're finally
nice to anybody in the Midwest.
Yeah, kind of digging out, but they're going to go at it. They're giving it a shot and go at it this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be good. Friday night, check it out. Super late models, IMCA modifieds. I could tell that he was not going to be the one to ask about getting the IMCA sanction this offseason. So good job to them and to Ted and everybody for getting that taken care of. All right, let's take a look at our upcoming schedule of events. Of course, Winston Speedway, we just talked about. They're opening on Friday. But, Rich, other things going on this weekend on Friday night. Hartford Speedway going to give it a go. Friday, May 15th, racing begins at 7:30, featuring the Great Lakes Traditional Sprints, Super Troopers, and Cyber Stocks. Gates open at 5. Adult tickets just $20, and kids 5 and under are FREE free. If you're going to get a pit pass, those gates open at 4 o'clock. Not to be outdone, the Great Lakes Lightning Sprints are in action this weekend at Tri-City Motor Speedway. They'll be alongside the Mini Wedges, Bomber Stocks, Street Stocks, Pro Stocks, and B Modifieds. things get underway at Tri-City Motor Speedway with the pit gates opening at 3:30, grandstands at 5:30, on-track action begins at 6:30. Of course, adults are just $20. Kids 12 and under, FREE free. Adult pit passes, $40. Keep that in mind. And kids 4 and under are free in the pits. So that's what's happening in Sprint Car World on Friday, Rich.
Let's move over to Saturday, and I picked out a couple of big shows in our region on the pavement. We'll start at Owasso Speedway. The Turn 1 CRA Pro Series, the Big O Classic, the season opener for Champion Racing Association, and the new Turn 1 CRA Pro Series. Pure Stocks will also be in action on Saturday. Gates are going to open at 4 p.m., qualifying at 5. They're going to have an autograph session back in the pit area.
Nice catch.
I caught it. Back where they did the Bob Finley Memorial. They got an autograph area back there. That'll be at 6 p.m. Pre-race ceremonies at 7 with the green flag for the Big O Classic at Owasso going off at 7:30.
Yes, and we'll have a full preview story on marknews.org with the 27 car entry list available tomorrow morning. So be on the lookout for that. Continue, my good friend.
And then not too far away, Berlin Raceway, Michigan Modified Series, race number 1. Also, it'll be Track or Treat Night. It ain't October yet, is it?
It feels like it.
Yeah. Candy bags to the kids upon entry. Also, there'll be a best costume contest for prizes. Limited late models and National Compact Touring Series will also be in action. Also, Ryan and Brooklyn Newman are entered for the Modified Series opener at Berlin. Gates open at 2 p.m., racing at 4 p.m., Zach.
Did you see Ryan Newman's car for Saturday's race?
I did not, but I want to.
Early 2000s, might have even been his rookie year campaign, Greg Biffle tribute scheme.
Oh man, really?
the red and black and 16. I don't know how to describe it. I think it was his rookie year and a little bit after that in the Cup Series. Iconic Greg Biffle, and it's got the 16 and everything on it. It's really cool. Really
I gotta check that out. I haven't had a chance to.
All right. Also in action this weekend, Rich France. Are you going to be working on Saturday? No,
yeah,
Friday, Saturday. What are you doing this weekend?
All right. So Friday, I will be at the Flat Rock Speedway. They're flipping nights with Toledo this week. So I will be at Flat Rock on Friday. I will be at Owasso with the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series on Saturday. I will not be at Toledo Speedway on Saturday because I've failed. I have no idea how to clone myself. For the Arca Menard Series, Owens Corning 200. Late model sportsman will also be in action. Gary Lindahl is going to handle this along with Charlie Crawl. Practice.
I think they're qualified. Are they? They're qualified to handle those things.
Yeah, I think they got this.
Charlie and Gary might be able to handle that.
Absolutely. They won't miss me a bit. Practice at 2:15. Sioux Chief pole qualifying goes off at 4:30. Then the late model sportsman feature at 5. Arca Menard's on-track autograph session at 5:30. Then the Owens Corning 200 will roll off at 7 p.m. at Toledo.
And just like the results at the top of the show, this is just a taste of what's going on this weekend. Check out all the other things that are planned around the state. I do believe, I said this last week, and I think I was wrong, but I think officially this weekend, every racetrack in the state of Michigan, as I start to say that, I wonder about Whittemore. I don't know when Whittemore opens. I don't have that one on the top of my head. Darn it. Well, Winston and Merritt.
You spoke too soon.
No, Winston and Merritt are opening this weekend. I would think Whittemore's got to be right behind them. So that should pretty much be everybody in the Lower Peninsula that is going to get underway. And, of course, Auto City posted an update this week. They are still having some leased shows at the racetrack. But as far as the actual Auto City Circle Track program, that's been delayed due to some regulatory things within the township. So they're trying. They just can't get the permits and things that they need to get rebuilt. So they've pushed their opener back to June as of right now at Auto City, but they are still doing some leased shows up there in Clio. So what else?
And I'm gonna lean towards you on the Whittemore deal because I doubt Whittemore would open their gates on Memorial Day weekend. I would think that would not. The following week would be if they don't this week.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. That if they don't this week, it would be Memorial Day weekend would be the season opener.
Guess how wrong you are.
But really, oh yeah, it never stops snowing up there, right? Till
Saturday, May 23rd, opening night.
Wow, Memorial Day weekend
or Whittemore Speedway. So,
I played that wrong.
What do we know? We're just a couple of yucks who
is the snow gone from up? Is the snow gone from up there yet?
It's supposed to be almost 80 degrees in the upper and lower peninsula this weekend.
I did see that. That makes me thrilled.
I'm glad that the $3,000 air conditioner that I bought for my house is actually going to get used finally. So
it will this weekend.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, that's going to do it for our program. We've drug this thing out long enough. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. Colin Bozell had a lot of people active in the chat today and viewing for him, so that was really cool. Good luck to him moving forward. Thanks to Max Stambaugh and, of course, Graham Hoffman, and then thanks to Andrew Heykoop for making time to be on the program tonight as well. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the live show, listening back on Spotify, Apple, Amazon. You're watching it on YouTube. Thank you for that as well. What do you got?
Go Pistons. I had to slide that in there.
Yes. Pistons in 5. So let's see how that goes. We'll talk to you for Noah Longyear, for Rich France, my co-host. I'm Zach Heiser. We'll talk to you next week, same time, same place, right here on Horsepower Happenings.
You've been listening to Horsepower Happenings. The views and opinions expressed in tonight's show may not directly reflect that of Horsepower Happenings. The contents of this program may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or disseminated without the express written consent of Horsepower Happenings. Follow Horsepower Happenings on Facebook, Instagram, X, and all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, and Pandora, to keep up on what's happening.